You're listening to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour with Blaze and Ken. And now, Blaze and Ken.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. I'm Blaze.
And I am
Hi,
Ken. It's good to see you every week. I love
know.
it. I'm enjoying it. We have a
Good to
great
see
show
you.
tonight. Yeah.
Mhm.
We have a great show tonight. We have a lot to talk about, especially with some certain things that are coming up, especially the Academy Awards, actually.
Yes, it's going to be incredible. I know we're going to do all of that. I see that our guest is here though, so I think that we should just bring him on. Super excited to have producer and actor Brendan Walsh with us. So, hi, Brendan.
Hey, how are you? Nice
Great.
to
How are
see you, Blaze.
you?
Excellent,
Nice to
thank
see
you.
you.
Getting caught up on the Oscars while you were doing your, loading up.
Well, it looks like you have so many books behind you.
Do you have anything in there that might actually
Yeah.
be a better actor?
Other shelf across the room. Esper, all the Stanislavski, which I picked up from Esper, and then HB Studios. Uta Hagen's work is over there, and then basically anything anyone ever handed me is over on the other shelf for acting. I didn't want to seem so pretentious being in front of all the plays, so I went with the books because the rest is just white walls. So
Ken and I usually start the show out as kind of talking about what we've been watching lately. So, is there anything that you've been watching that comes to mind that you're like really into?
Last of Us. I think I'm one or two behind. But it is so good. I cannot wait to I never binge watched, but this I like to kind of put two of them together and just sit there. It is so good.
Yeah.
I have not had a chance to see it yet, but I'm a huge gaming guy, and I was very curious. I mean, I know people are trying to fill the void now with Game of Thrones gone. We have a new Game of Thrones,
Okay, look,
but
I
we
got the
also,
Run
you
Like
know,
Winter.
The Walking Dead has ended, and this kind of seems like it's filling the void for The Walking Dead. But I'm a huge fan of the video game series and the developers, and the fact that they turned this into a series actually seems very intriguing. And I'm glad to hear that you're watching it and you're really enjoying it.
Yeah, I actually and two, I track each week to see the star rating because the star rating out of the gate was so high. And I wanted to see if it was going to go down. It still is over a 9, and the people who are very attached to the game seem to love it. And where they do make changes, they seem to enjoy that too. So,
I mean, and Pedro Pascal's killing it. I mean, he's got this. He has the Mandalorian. I mean, guy's all over the place right now.
Did you see the unbearable weight of massive talent with him and Nicolas Cage?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
You got
to see it.
Don't tell us.
It's so good. You have to see it. Yeah, it's very good.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm on the Pedro Pascal kick. He's great.
I just finished and I'm caught up now to where, to get to the next episode. So I'm totally caught up. But I will say I've never played the game.
Right.
But from what I've read, they are staying pretty true to the game. So that's making all the gamers happy. However, I think one of the things that just happened, which obviously I'm not going to mention a thing, but something that just happened, I'll be curious. I feel like they have to shift what happens next, and kind of draw things out a little bit longer, but we'll see what happens.
I
So,
can't wait. So
yeah.
I'm probably gonna do that tonight. I'll probably catch up later tonight.
Good.
All right,
Perfect.
so before we get into the meat of the interview, I mean, we did bring up the Academy Awards are coming up. Brennan, if you're up for it, I'm going
Yeah,
to bring up a couple of the categories of nominees for this year, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about who we're kind of rooting for or looking to see. How about that?
that's great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
First up, actually, we're looking at Best Picture, and we've got a lot. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. Now, I guess the question is, how many of these have we actually seen?
A little over half for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to, without looking, I'd say about the same.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are better off than I am this year, apparently. But one of the things that I'm actually excited about is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's such a cool, quirky movie that I'm
Mhm.
shocked actually is getting the accolades that it is.
Yeah, I'm afraid that the same people that love Everywhere also love Banshees, and there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of canceling of, the voters out, like the votes
Mm.
out, because those are my
Yeah.
two favorite. I mean, that's just in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you can't go wrong with Spielberg. The Fablemans is just a beautiful movie all around. But Everything Everywhere All at Once is my number one, and then Fablemans, which we'll talk about later about some of the cast members in everything, and then kind of the connection with Steven Spielberg. Yeah,
That's
Real
right.
quick too,
yeah,
I'm actually shocked that Top Gun Maverick made it because all it is just essentially a retelling of Star Wars in a weird way. If anybody's
It's
seen it,
so good. It's so good. I felt however old I was again.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and when I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but the end, it's so, I mean, it's so good. So
yeah.
I hope it wins something. It wins the nostalgia award. So
yeah.
very cool.
I think it probably will win sound
Yeah.
because it was brilliant. You really felt like you were in that hangar with them or in the plane, so
Well, actually, I would actually say editing would probably
maybe
go
editing.
very well for it too. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
And Tom Cruise
next
still
up,
doing it.
right?
yeah, that guy can run.
Do everything, all his
First
own stunts.
yeah. First movie that comes to your mind that, like, is your favorite of his out of all of them. Would it be Top Gun or would it be something else?
Color of Money for me, because
Color of Money was
Yeah, it
great.
was
Yeah,
great.
I'm
Paul
such a Paul
Newman. Yeah,
Newman fan.
yeah.
And so
Yes.
to see Paul Newman before Tom Cruise is really Tom Cruise, and they're together and
Yeah.
their scenes together. If you go back now, they're great. Yeah, Color of Money.
I still have a little place in my heart for Cocktail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I feel like, I don't know, for me, the first movie, Legend, it's like,
Oh yeah.
I know that it was so
Oh,
long ago and it's not like maybe the best acting of
Ridley
everything, but
Scott.
yeah, it was just such a
Yeah,
classic, because I could have said Risky Business or
Tim
one of
Curry.
his
Yeah,
beginnings, but I don't know, Legend for me just comes up as the first like most memorable role for him.
Yeah. Fair.
And then you have, obviously in his career, Mission Impossible, a million other ones, Magnolia. So it's like
Magnolia is
it's too
great.
many to choose from,
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
anyway, all
Yep.
right. So next up, Best Director.
Yeah.
Martin McDonough for Banshees, Daniel Kwan, Shiner, and for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Spielberg for Fablemans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness.
My heart says Spielberg, but
Yeah.
Cameron wasn't in there for Avatar?
Nope.
Wow. Okay. It was
Those
a beautiful
scenes
movie.
in those scenes in Banshees are really well directed. I mean,
Mhm.
putting everything everywhere all together is difficult too. But Tar's supposed to be I haven't seen it, so I don't want to judge, but
That's
Yeah.
that's why I can't say anything about that one. I haven't seen that one yet, but I know that it's, amazing actress is in the lead character there. So, uh,
So, all right. Next up, we got Best Actor: Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for Banshees, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Paul Nighy for Living. I'm gonna say it just because I'm rooting for him. Brendan Fraser for The
Brendan
Whale.
Fraser, me too. Me too.
I think so. I think Elvis is gonna win.
You think so? I mean, it does seem to be the favorite, actually.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, that he has one. I mean, he's so good in that movie, but I don't think it's enough to win the Oscar. I just don't. And
I
then
think
the whale.
I think the only way that Brendan maybe wins over Austin in that way is because the performances are just completely different, obviously,
Yeah.
utterly different performances. But Brendan has won a lot of the other awards so far in the season.
Well, just going online and seeing, the reactions to that movie with Brendan Fraser has been incredible.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he's been
I
through
was,
a rough road too. So it's like you root for him so
yeah.
much.
Everyone thought that he was just making bad movie choices and everything else. And then you hear that he has a real, story and a side of his story that he's never, I don't want to tell his story, but, people should look it up because it just adds some perspective.
Yeah.
So it's great that he has this. Yeah.
well, and the other thing too is like he's had a little bit of a resurgence with television with the comic book stuff, and I don't know if Brendan, if you can see behind me, I'm a huge comic book guy,
I see it.
and you and I are going to be talking about that a little bit later in your interview.
Cool.
But let's move on, and we'll do Best Actress and kind of wrap it up. We've got Kate Blanchett in Tar, Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riseborough into Leslie, Michelle Williams in The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm going to go out on a limb. It might be a little controversial, but I'm kind of rooting for Ana de Armas in Blonde.
Wow.
No. I'm not, only because I didn't really care for Blonde. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm a huge Marilyn Monroe fan, and I just feel like they took her story and it wasn't factual. So I don't like that. I don't like when
Like I
somebody
said,
takes
a
a
little
real
controversial.
person, real person, and then makes it. I wouldn't like that if somebody did that to me. So nope, nope, not for me.
You think
Brendan,
Kate?
what are your thoughts? No, I actually think
Michelle
Michelle.
Yeoh.
Yeah, I
Michelle
think
Michelle
Yeoh.
Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh. Yeah,
I hope Michelle Yeoh.
yeah,
I've been a fan of hers for years.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Kate Blanchett is it's between the two. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
All right, so let's wrap that up. I mean, that was the big heavy hitters for that. But Brendan, again, thank you for joining us.
No,
A lot
thank
to
you.
talk about. A lot to talk
Yeah.
about. I did bring it up earlier. Huge comic book fan. Do want to talk about The Punisher.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was 2 days of shooting in season 2. And I actually grew up. I love The Punisher. I mean, the Dolph Lundgren one. Do you remember the Dolph Lundgren one with Louis Gossett Jr.?
Can I tell you one of my all-time bizarre favorite memories is Dolph Lundgren sitting naked in the sewer,
Yeah.
legs crossed, going, "God, why?"
It's great. So I did. I loved, everyone else. I think growing up, I loved Punisher and Wolverine.
Yep.
Everyone else, had their, Superman and Batman. I mean, I'm jumping across, Marvel, DC, but I liked those darker characters. I still do. And so I get called in for the audition. They were like, I had to do like a little dance and in the audition. And so that's basically what happened. And they called me a few hours later. I got put on hold. So anyway, the first day I shoot the second scene. The second day I shoot the first scene, and I get shot. My name's Moke. Moke's dead in the Marvel universe, but the guy asked me, the special effects guy goes, have you ever used one of these before? I said, no, I have no idea. And he goes, well, you're going to hear the gunshot and this thing's going to explode. They're tied together. And he said, really try to, get it on the first take because no one wants to clean this up and get you another shirt. There's going to be a whole explosion. So just try to nail it. And we did. But the next day I got to act with, the main antagonist, the bad guy. And afterwards he's like, that was really good. I think I'm going to see you again. And I said, no, I died. He goes, no, I'm telling you, I died yesterday. So I know I'm not, I appreciate it. Thank you. So, yeah. But it was great. John Bethanol and everyone's very nice. It couldn't have been a better day of shooting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So getting hooked up to squibs and everything, fun experience?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, anytime you do something like that, the other thing that was great. I mean, it just explodes. Boom, the thing comes out. I think as long as they notice that you're comfortable, they're fine. I got the stuntman comes over and like yanked me out of the car, and they pulled me a good 3/4 out of the car, out of the window, because they saw I could do it. And then my stunt double comes in, and he just gets thrown to the ground. And even now, I'm like, I mean, it's cool because like someone got to work for the day, but I was like, man, I wish he had just thrown me to the ground. I would have liked to get thrown to the ground by the Punisher, doing my own stunts like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I've been on both sides of that. I've done the whole acting thing where I've actually had a double, but then with my background, I've actually done the stunt work, and I actually like doing the stunt work better, to be honest.
It was really cool. And then walking off set, you're kind of like, I don't know, maybe that's something that I could get into. I mean, you talked about, before we just met, but you were talking about being a wrestler. So there's a lot of,
and that's all where it all started from. Yeah.
Which is incredible. But yeah, it was really cool.
So Brendan, when it comes to something like The Punisher and you do have this character and you're getting shot, was there any fear at all? I remember doing an episode of Forensic Files and I had to get shot in the head. And they said you might feel like a little,
Right.
and I
Little
did feel
pressure.
it. It didn't hurt or anything, but I felt a little. But there was that like instant. This was years ago too that I did the show. But I remember the director. His name was Michael Jordan. I'll never forget because of his name. But I just remember having that fear a little. And I also it was shot in the head and then flames come up. So I had that first, and my eyes are closed, and then I have flames everywhere. Is there any kind of visceral feeling that you get, or anything at all?
It sounds like you had a much more intense experience than the packet exploding.
I mean,
So
I'm not scarred from it or
comparatively,
anything.
no, not really. I will say, and I was in the military, and this isn't like, oh, I was in the military, so I'm big and strong, and so that stuff doesn't bother me. It was actually more like when I got to boot camp, and we were doing some crazy stuff, and whenever we had to do crazy stuff in the Marines, I kind of just always felt in training and in these, and the same goes for this particular moment. This is why I'm connecting, is because they do it all the time. And I mean, people were always acting like I acted up in boot camp, and I wish I hadn't, but I was always kind of joking around because I just felt like so many people had done this before that it's safe. So really, I'm just the one creating something. And they're really cool. He's taping it to my chest, and he's like, look, this is going to go off. Does that bother you? And I'm like, no, not really. And they explain it and they walk you through it, which I think is really nice. I mean, I'm glad that he's not just like, we'll figure it out. But they're definitely, I mean, the flip side of that is, I don't even know the name of the movie, but obviously that Alec Baldwin scenario, and then Brandon Lee and The Crow, and that if you start going down that road, but when you take all the instances and all the things that are being produced and filmed, the chances are pretty low. So there's always the risk, but I think that they handle it very well, and especially today.
Right.
Yeah. I've done that before for on a couple of productions, and you bring up the idea like bring it up in your head like Brennan Lee and everything else going on, like that never even crossed my mind. I'm just sitting there going, I just want to have some fun.
Yeah. What's really wild to me, I actually just found this out because of a show that we're working on, The Karate Kid, and we were talking about fight choreography, and on stage there's no license, there's no certification. I mean, it's highly recommended, but anyone can be labeled the fight choreographer. And when I think about the unions and everything, actors equity and everything that they fight for, it really surprises me to learn that just kind of anyone can be like, we'll work through it, so that's interesting. But in film, I'd say they really take care of it well.
Well, you brought up the Karate Kid. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that on your end?
Yeah. So I'm on staff as a producer at a company called Gorgeous Entertainment, and it's Kamiko Yoshi's company. And I just like to say that because when I say I'm a producer, I don't want anyone thinking that I'm doing work that's not, mine. So I like to, at least give the credit where the credit's due. And they were working on a show before I joined the team. Robert Mark Kamen, who created The Karate Kid, is our book writer.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's writing a musical. Yeah, it's awesome. He's awesome. Drew Gasparini's writing the music and lyrics. Keone and Mari are doing the choreography. We have a great Broadway team. And we did over the summer in St. Louis at a theater called Stages. We did our regional tryout. And now, like a lot of shows, we're waiting for a home on Broadway.
How was the response during everything?
It really, really blew the doors off of St. Louis. The reviews were great, and I'll be honest. When I was told about the project, I kind of scratched my head, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Yeah," but it's. I'm not going to say no to that level of work. Then I read the script, and Amon Miyamoto, who's a director out of Japan, he's actually the only Japanese director on Broadway. He did Pacific Overtures at Lincoln Center. And so now if he does this, the second Japanese director will also be the first, have been the first Japanese director. But we've influenced, there's this whole Japanese influence that is in the musical across the board. The set designer Derek McLean, and in the choreography and the music, and it's really brings Miyagi more to the forefront of the story and that relationship than just Daniel. So I think that's really special.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you? Because the Karate Kids, made a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And it started off as, the 80s film that it was, and the trilogy essentially, which was pretty serious. But then we move forward to the Netflix show. They bring the more comedic aspect to it. How would you explain your take on it, or your guys' take on it? Is there a comedic aspect to it? Is it more serious?
No, I would say that it, we follow the general story. I think that the way maybe some of the roles were presented in the 80s, we've tried to adjust, and so keep to the moral, content, or the moral, truth of the story, but have now want to see it through a modern lens.
Yeah.
But it's still in the 80s. I would say that there's still that humor, right? It's still this kid from Jersey trying to figure it out, and this relationship between Miyagi and Daniel. The one thing actually that we didn't know, and I was blown away, is it's basically Robert Mark Kamen's story. It's his
Right.
autobiography.
Yeah.
He still practices karate, and he's still up every morning doing his katas and everything. And but the music, again, I think that Japanese element, it's I don't know. It's amazing what that story really. I didn't realize the impact that it has, especially because it's like the Karate Kid. But it's great to be a part of it for sure.
Right. So let me ask you something. When it came to the showing in St. Louis, did any of the original cast from the series, including Cobra Kai, obviously, that's now, did anybody come out and check it out?
Yeah. So Martin Cove was there
That's
opening
my
night.
guy. That's my guy.
And and Alan H. Green, who's our crease, and him, we got some great photos of them,
That's
like
cool.
the two
I
creases.
can imagine
It's
Martin's
pretty
such a
cool.
ham.
And then Billy Zabka and Ralph Macchio both made it out on their own. And it wasn't, we knew, so obviously the media covered it, but really just they're so attached to Robert and they're such a family that I think they wanted to be there to, support him and see what this is all about. Ralph apparently has been behind the project since he heard about it, which is really cool. So the three of them came out. It was great.
That's awesome.
great.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So then moving on from Karate Kid, what's going on next for you? Or do you have stuff that's in parallel with the Karate Kid?
Yes. So Robin Goodman has a company called Aged in Wood, and our company are doing Working Girl the musical, and
Okay.
Cyndi Lauper
So
is writing the music. And
So like
Teresa-
another musical based on a movie?
Another music, yeah. It's interesting because before they were based on books or stories, and so now the content does come from somewhere. I think that
Because Working Girl's a classic, actually. I was a huge fan of that when that came out.
What I didn't know is Cyndi Lauper was up for the part of Melanie Griffith, but I heard that she was working on Vibes, which is this movie with Peter Falk.
Yes.
You and I, if you saw that, you and I are like a handful of people that saw it. I actually like that movie.
I love Vibes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So she turned it down, and then Melanie Griffith took the part. It was a big movie. And so now I think for her, it's like a coming home for Cyndi Lauper to be able to write the music. And Teresa Rebeck is a great playwright, great American playwright. And they're doing really great work. So we just did a workshop of that. And we hope to have our regional tryout coming up within the next season, which will be great.
I would kill to be able to hear some of that music.
As soon as I get something that I can send you, I will be more than happy to let you.
I'm a huge Cyndi fan. I'm not gonna lie.
She's great, and she's still got it.
She does.
It was funny though too, because they've been working on this for a while, and I got into this role actually just when COVID started. And we're on these Zoom meetings, and she was like looking at the names to see who was there, and she got real close, and she's like, "Who's this Brendan Walsh? Who the F is Brendan Walsh?" And I was like, "Oh man." So yeah, it was cool. And then we have there's a couple other projects going on. The horror genre is starting to become very, very popular on stage. They're doing, there's been in the news, they're pushing The Shining, which I think is going to premiere in London. It'll be a straight play, I think. And I think people are just exploring what that could look like on stage.
You know what? I think something like that needs a resurgence, especially if you bring up Stephen King. I mean, because if you think of Stephen King and stage productions, we got Carrie, and I think we need a step up.
We did Misery too, right? With Bruce Willis and Laurie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But it's just, even though it's theater or a story that would be based on existing content, it would be so new, for the stage and what they could do, and especially with technology. And I think that besides needing new stories and more actors and seeing new talent and new producers and I'm not saying get rid of what exists necessarily, but just add some newness to it while it's still new.
Right.
And I think that this could be a very interesting way to do that if people get behind it. And it's also going to bring a whole new genre of theater goers, which I think is great too, because they're very faithful.
Did you see American Psycho when it was on Broadway?
I didn't. I don't think I was in town. They were talking about bringing it back.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think I heard, this isn't even, I heard walking around that like someone was talking about doing it as an immersive concept.
Okay.
For the same show but immersive,
okay,
which would be really interesting.
I saw it front row because I had a couple friends in it, and I just wanted to be there to support them on it was closing night too. And Benjamin Walker was the lead. So if you know him from Abraham Lincoln Vampire
Yeah.
Killer and many other things, he
Right.
actually just did the most recent, not Lord of the Rings, but the Ring of Power. He was in
Oh,
that as well. But I enjoyed it a lot, and I'd be curious definitely to see it again, and in that more immersive situation too would be pretty cool.
Well, American Psycho is a very meta type story to begin
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
So
right.
I do love I have that. My sister gave me the book, so I did get to read the book first, and
yeah,
then Christian Bale is fantastic.
Mhm.
yeah.
So and then I don't know. I know Blaze does a little anime. I know she's got some anime in her. And then on
Yeah.
one of the episodes I listened, is like 5 years you've been watching anime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm a baby in the
Yeah.
anime world, but Ken, are you also an anime?
I'm actually more old school. I'm more of a 80s, early 90s guy with more of the films than the TV shows. So I'm more of a Fist of the North Star, Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, I actually
So yeah.
remember Vampire Hunter. Yeah,
Oh
Vampire
yeah.
Hunter. Yeah.
Great movie.
I was just in Japan, and this Matsuda-san has created this this concept of theater 2.5D, where
Mm.
he's taking anime off the page and making it musical theater in Japan, and it's packed. It's sold out, and it's great, and it's just a matter, I think, that they would like to explore how to bring those titles over here, and he has every major title. So
Well, I mean, like Death Note was a huge thing actually when it came out.
Death Note.
Yeah, that was a pretty big anime story that
Right now,
got a lot of publicity.
I know he's done Naruto.
Mhm.
Oh
Um,
well.
yeah, oh yeah, and he just closed Attack on Titan.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but he does Sailor Moon. The company I work for has hosted Japan Day in New York City in Central Park, I think since 2007. But last year we did the first parade, and it was the Japan parade right down Central Park West, and we're doing it again this year, May 13th. And
Ooh.
last year we had the Sailor Moon girls come, and they ended up throwing out the first pitch, I think, at a Mets game. Like the Mets were like, "Are they here? Can they come over here?" And like it was very last minute. It's crazy. But this year Naruto's going to be there, and Christy Yamaguchi is going to be our grand marshal. Last year it was
Amazing.
George Takei. So
That's
yeah,
so exciting. I'll
yeah.
be there. When is it? May what?
May 13th. I
May
think that's
13th.
Saturday.
All
Yeah.
right.
So you can volunteer if you want to, Blaze. We'll be
Oh,
looking for
okay.
volunteers. You get a shirt and everything.
Oh, I'm there. I'm in. Consider it done.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. So much
So
fun.
yeah.
Now,
So
since you said
exciting.
you're newer into anime, um, what are the ones that you're kind of feeling? Did you when you're doing these different producing these different things that you've never seen before, do you go back and watch? Because listen, if I saw that like One Piece is maybe being made into a movie, right? There's thousands of episodes. So I can't
Yeah.
imagine as a producer, not going back and watching it on. How do you do that? Like what's your process for really
One
or you
episode
just
at a
take over?
time.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But what happened was I didn't know anything from anything. Luckily I have a niece and a nephew, and they were watching One Piece, like an episode a night with my sister. And so I started checking that out. And, when you search and you type in one, everything that starts with one is up there. And let me see if I can grab it. So next to One Piece, which I actually really enjoy, but next to One Piece was this One Punch Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? And I tend to just watch one thing at a time and go through it. So the reason I'm on Last of Us is because I just finished season 5 of Saul, and season 6 isn't on Netflix yet. So I started watching One Piece too, and then I saw this. I was like, what is this? And I was hooked. I mean, so much so that people started getting me the English translations of the comic books. So I'm in. I'm in
Yeah.
it now. Yeah.
We had Vic Mignogna on a couple weeks
I
back,
listened to the
and
episode.
yeah, I don't know if he did One Punch Man or not, but he did so many of the other ones, and I just totally nerded out with him. You know, especially
It's
about Naruto, because that's the first one that really hooked me was Naruto. It was just one of those things where you watch the first episode and I was like, we'll see. But I continued on, and then it was so crazy how you just really felt you got attached to these characters.
very quickly.
Yeah, and that was really cool
Yeah.
to see that. And then even with some of the other ones, I know there's one called Food Wars. You know, there's a whole bunch that I've seen, and right now I'm doing One Piece, but I will watch ones that are maybe just a couple seasons in between when I'm kind of feeling like I need a little break because it's just so many episodes. But how
My
fun!
emotional investment in these anime characters is
Yeah,
much higher than anything like that I can remember from when I was a kid.
right.
Which is really, it's bizarre to me. And I don't even know. I mean, it is good storytelling and it's fun, but I don't quite know why I'm so drawn to it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Well, if you had to cosplay, which character would you dress up as?
Oh, Zorro for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
dye my hair like
the
green,
green, and
and
that's a fun character too.
he's cool.
When will all of this come out for you, with the anime stuff? When do you think that
So
besides May, obviously?
hopefully next year, in New York, which will be great. And there's landmarks, like Comic Cons and Anime Con that we hope to work around. They brought Sailor Moon here, in 2018 or 2017. Sailor Moon was here. They did it at the PlayStation Theater, which is now the Palladium, and they sold it out.
Oh, wow.
They did a very limited amount of performances, but it was sold out. And the characters, even when they take their bow, what I think is so interesting is that they're still the characters. They never break that for the audience. So, and they take it very seriously, and the fans also take it very seriously. So it really is an opportunity, I guess, to see their heroes
Yeah,
alive, in
yeah,
front of them. So, yeah, I mean, everything got, as we know, right? It's kind of like planes that were delayed in takeoff, and the runway is still clearing out.
yeah,
But things are moving pretty quickly now. Unfortunately, there's not any time for things to sort of that I think just need some time for word of mouth to spread that people would
mhm,
enjoy, even if it doesn't get a great review. But there's no time for that to happen anymore. So it's kind of like if it's not working, it's gone. They move the next one in, which is unfortunate, but it also provides an opportunity for other people. So
yeah.
that's
Well,
kind of where we are.
Brennan, I do want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We
Yeah.
are starting to run out of time, but I do want to ask you, with everything going on, what are you most excited for coming up?
In my own world, or
Yep.
Yeah,
definitely the Karate Kid, and getting that a home. And a lot of people put a lot of hard work in St. Louis and in stages and making that happen, and the cast, some of which are on Broadway right now. They're very talented actors, but they really made a family, for that show. And just knowing what's behind it, I think myself and certainly my boss, Kimiko, we really feel an obligation to get that a home on Broadway and get it seen, and also to have sort of this Japanese element, brought to the forefront of Broadway, because you don't see a lot of it. So I do really feel dedicated to making that happen. Yeah, for sure.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. One of the questions that we ask all of our guests at the end of each of our shows pretty much is if you could offer a piece of advice to someone who's maybe just starting out as an actor, as a producer, what's your best piece of advice for them?
Yeah, do if you're just starting, do it all, whatever it is,
Mhm.
do it all. Even if you're wondering why you're doing it halfway through, um, and don't stop. And I guess the last thing too is stay with people who don't stop.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people who are just going to keep going no matter what. So that's, yeah, do it all and don't stop doing it. Yeah, just like you
Awesome.
both. Thanks for having me.
Love
Keep
it.
doing
Yes,
it.
we loved having you. Thank you so much again, Brendan Walsh. That's his Instagram right down there. And we'll let you know for sure about the parade and everything in
Yeah,
May. We'll keep in touch with you. And maybe when you have an opening for something too, we'd love to come and check it out and let everybody know about it as well.
yeah,
So
it'd be great. Maybe
that's
we can figure something out for the parade, to have
yeah.
you there too, and I don't know, film a clip or something. That would
That
be
would be
fun.
great.
There
This
you go.
always feels like such a family. We create this family here on the show, so it's really awesome. So we're glad that you can be a part of it, and
Thank
we'll
you.
say goodbye for now. So, cheers, and thanks for weighing in on the Oscars too.
Cheers,
Yes.
and Ken, nice meeting you.
Same here, brother.
All right,
Take care.
take care.
Thank you again.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Wow.
Oh, awesome! Right? So many. I just love. He had so much to say,
Yeah.
about things that are so relatable, to a
Yeah.
lot of people. So I love that. And
And
he's got
so
so
much
much going
going on,
on.
actually. Yes.
Yeah, I
I
love
want to
that.
see a Karate Kid musical, or
Yes. Yes, that would be amazing.
actually, I want to see Working Girl, especially if Cyndi Lauper is involved.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. And it's in New York, so it's closer.
Yep. Thank God.
I know, but no, that was great. Listen, we do have a couple more things to do before we end here. So
Yeah.
let's first start with Nicole in the kitchen. I think
Yes.
she has some Oscar worthy advice for us. So
I'm
let's roll
sure
that
she
clip.
does.
Let's roll it.
What's up, Ken and Blaze? It's Nicole, and it's so nice to see you both, as per usual. And tonight, since we're talking about awards and things of that nature, I thought what better time to discuss celebrating wins when it comes to your health. Now, as you know, I work with a really wide variety of clients, but I also work specifically on a weight loss app called Step by Step. And one of our main goals is always, are we celebrating the process as much as we're celebrating the outcomes? So weight loss can seem like a big and daunting goal, and it's really important to not just celebrate lower numbers on the scale, as motivating as they may be, but also to celebrate everything that got you there, right? So maybe you have a moment where you decided to make a choice that's more aligned with your goals at a party or at a celebration. That's a win. Maybe you have a day where your step count exceeded that of the day before. That's a win. Talking about things that are a little bit more physical and tangible, maybe there's that great pair of jeans that you've been wanting to wear and you didn't feel so secure in them 2-3 weeks ago and now they fit great. That's a huge win. And when we're talking about some of these things, we're talking about NSVs, your non-scale victories. So can we celebrate actual weight loss? If that's your goal, of course, I'm here to support it. However, I think it's really important to dig into some of your whys as to why you're pursuing weight loss in the first place, and then look at different strategies, different processes that will help you reach that goal that are also going to improve your overall health, your overall well-being, and hopefully increase longevity as well. So cheers to winning, cheers to celebrations. Ken and Blaze, back to you in the studio.
Very smart.
Yes.
Very smart
She
and
she
very
she
true.
she 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 helped tie it together tonight.
Yes, she did. And the other thing I think too, I'm not sure how into basketball you are, but this is my favorite time of year. It's March Madness coming up, and it's
Yes.
Selection Sunday this weekend, same day as the Oscars, but 6 o'clock Selection Day for March Madness, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that as it
I'm
goes on.
sure
Do
we
you have
will.
anybody that you're supporting and that you're thinking of? Anybody that comes to mind team wise?
I'm a sports guy, but I'm not a big basketball guy. That's one of
Okay.
the things that I don't follow. So
Okay.
I can come up with something by next week.
Okay. I'm thinking the four, or at least the four number one seeds, and because this isn't out yet or anything, but I think just from watching during the season, Houston is one. Kansas is looking really strong. Alabama, Alabama, um,
Alabama.
Alabama, and who would my fourth one be? Yeah, I always like go for Gonzaga. And I'm a Duke fan, but this year wasn't the best without Coach K. So, but I'm still rooting for them. I hope they get in. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That fourth one I'm kind of iffy on, but we'll just say Zaga. But I don't think that's a
We'll
number
have to
one
save
seed.
it for
We'll
next
see.
week then.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll save it and see
So
who they were. So, all right. Well, listen, everybody. Hope you have a great week. Thank you so much again to Brendan Walsh
yes,
for
thank you,
stopping
Brennan.
by and chatting with us. And
Yes.
looking forward to hearing everything he has coming up too in the future. So, have a great week, everybody.
Cheers,
Talk to you
everybody.
soon. Bye.